Let's talk about some of the awesome new manga coming out in March of 2025. Welcome to the Manga Buyer's Guide for March of 2025. We've got a lot of great manga to cover. There's a lot of stuff I'm really excited to talk about, and I'm hoping that you're excited to hear about it. Now, for those of you who are new to these videos and new to this channel, welcome. I'm so glad to have you. But I want to make sure that y'all know what these videos are all about and how they work. And this can be a reminder for all of you return viewers, which, welcome back. I am very glad to see you as well. So in the Manga Buyer's Guide, we are not going over the entirety of the release calendar for the month. We just focus on the new debuts. That's going to be volume 1s and single volume releases. I also do touch on final volume releases, but I focus on those first volumes, those debuts, because there are so many new manga that come out every single week from all different publishers that it's extremely easy to miss something. And anything has the potential to be something that you absolutely love. So my goal as a reader and collector myself is to help you as a fellow reader and collector to make sure that not only do you not miss any of these new releases that you could potentially love, but that you make informed decisions on anything that's coming out. So I hope that you find this video to be both informative and entertaining, and let's get on into it with the new releases from the 4th of March, starting out with 4 Lives Remain from Tatsuya Endo. This is one of Viz Media's before blank, like creator before blank series books. They've done this for a couple other creators, and now it's Tatsuya Endo before Spy Family. This is a collection of 4 short stories from the creator of Spy Family. They described these as a young girl fighting her way through bounty hunter school, a princess forced to flee her moon empire after a coup, witch hunters hell-bent on killing with blood-sucking swords, and a group of ragtag musketeers tracking down armed robbers. After this release, I believe that we will have all of Tatsuya Endo's works available in English. The big one, of course, is Spy Family, but Viz also released the 2-volume series Tista and the 5-volume series Blade of the Moon Princess. So this should be everything. If you're a fan of Spy Family or of Tatsuya Endo in general, this will be a fun one for you to pick up. Now let's move on to another one from Viz Media, this time from the Shoujo Beat line. But I want to give a shout out real quick to James, who makes these slides. James does a great job of putting these together for me and including pretty much any relevant information that you would need so that you can make an informed decision on whether you want to purchase these or not. So I recommend, as you're watching this, if any of these titles are intriguing to you, take a screenshot so you can come back to it later and decide whether you want to pick it up or not. So we got A Star Brighter Than the Sun from Shoujo Beat. This is by Kazune Kawahara, the creator of My Love Story and High School Debut. It's a new shoujo manga about 2 childhood friends at the end of middle school, Koki, who was smaller and weaker than the average boy, and Sai, who was taller and stronger than the average girl. Now going into high school, Sai has realized that Koki has grown up and also that she now has feelings for him. But does Koki reciprocate those feelings? You'll just have to read along to find out. Now this one's a little bit along. It's been going since 2021, so it already has 9 volumes. We don't know when it's going to end, so it might be a little bit more of a commitment for your shelf. But speaking of Kazune Kawahara, we have a new volume of My Love Story. The hit shoujo rom-com series is back with volume 14, subtitled In College. This is set after the original series, so of course those of you who were fans of that one, you might want to grab this one. If you've only watched the anime, which is also fantastic, I would recommend reading the manga because there's a lot more story material in there. But this one does add on to that. So returning to these characters that so many people loved. Now let's move on to some stuff from 7 Seas. We've got a hot new release here from I Got Married to the Girl I Hate Most in Class. This is based on the light novels, and also those are going to be coming from 7 Seas. They just announced them like a month ago or something, actually. And these inspired the new anime, which, as I understand, has been getting a lot of positive attention. So if you've seen the anime and you're interested, definitely pick up the manga from 7 Seas. Under threat of losing the family business to the dog, Saito must now arrange to marry Akane, his rival. Now the unlikely couple is sharing a house, meals, and a bed while trying to keep the arrangement a secret from their classmates. Moving on, next is a really big one coming from 7 Seas this month, and that is the Rose and Maiden Collector's Edition. One of my most anticipated from this month, and I did get my copy, and it is gorgeous. This is going to be all 7 volumes of the original series, plus all 10 volumes of the sequel series, and more. I don't know what the more is, if it's just referring to like extra content, but there are more than just those 2 titles, so we'll see. But it's going to be a total of 7 large trim collector's editions. Each of these is going to be more than 400 pages, and I believe the price point on all of them is going to be $25.99, which is a really solid value. So this was previously published by Tokyo Pop. Of course, that was a very long time ago. So if you are a fan of that one and you want to upgrade your copies to these new ones that have like new translations and all that, then definitely pick these up. The series, if you're not aware, follows a young man who finds a mysterious box with a living doll inside that pulls him into a dangerous world of the Alice game. Side note about these new releases for old Tokyo Pop titles: if you want to see more of these, you have to vote with your dollar here, and anything, I'm not going to tell you to pick up everything because you might not be interested in some of these, but if there are old Tokyo Pop titles that you are interested in seeing revisited, pick these up. Rose and Maiden, just recently, they also released, I have it right next to me, that's why I'm looking off to the side, Pet Shop of Horrors, and they did a couple years ago Marmalade Boy. So there are a lot of these old Tokyo Pop titles that they've been bringing back. Gravitation is another one. And not just them, but like Titan has done a couple things like Burst Angel. And so if you're looking for any like old Tokyo Pop titles to come back, the best way to make that happen is to buy these re-releases. Like I said, vote with your dollar. It's the best way to make it happen. Moving on, this one comes from Square Enix, The Emperor's Caretaker, Volume 1. A statesman's daughter finds herself swept into the world of palace intrigue when she's chosen to be a court lady in this richly illustrated period fantasy. I can confirm it is very richly illustrated. Narratively, it wasn't up my alley, but it was very gorgeous to look at. Then we've got Gunsmith Cats Omnibus Volume 1 coming from Dark Horse. I actually just started reading my copy I got in today, so I am so far really enjoying this classic revisited. Chicago in the 1990s, a city of crime that means good business for 2 young women, bounty hunter partners Raleigh and Minnie May, the Gunsmith Cats. The 90s classic is reprinted in 3 oversized volumes. There is a sequel series, Gunsmith Cats Burst, but they haven't yet announced if that one is going to be getting the same treatment. I'm sure it will be. Seems pretty obvious, but as of now, we only know about this 3-volume omnibus set. They are oversized, and they are very nicely put together. If you're a fan of stuff from around this era, like 90s seinen stuff, I definitely recommend picking this up. I kind of like that Dark Horse has really leaned into what their niche is, like seinen and stuff for old heads, like leaning into Berserk and Trigun and Hellsing, and then now bringing back things like Gunsmith Cats. Not to say that they aren't doing anything new, but they really are leaning into those things. It's great for, people like myself. Like, these are things that we grew up on and want to revisit. Anyway, one new one coming from One Piece Books this month is You Talk Too Much, So Just Shut It Already. Tsukino Hiragi was born deaf. When her oblivious classmate Taiyo Enomoto suddenly starts talking to her, she's interested. But as she carefully reads his lips, she starts to wonder, what nonsense is he talking about anyway? Now moving into the second week, let's take a look at stuff from the 11th of March, starting out with Minecraft the Manga from Viz Media. This is based, of course, on the video game, and this manga follows 10-year-old Nico, who gets to go on the adventure of his dreams, where he runs into a zombie that can speak. I've never gotten into Minecraft, nothing against the game itself, but just a kind of side comment, it's crazy how long this has been around, and it is no less relevant now than it was back when, it debuted when I was in college, I think. Just crazy. It's still, relevant to people now with the movie coming out. That obviously shows such, and of course they're timing that with this media tie-in of the manga which started in 2020, so it's been a while. So they're definitely releasing this because they're like, oh, the movie's coming out, let's go ahead and do the manga. Moving on, something that I'm very excited about this month, another one of my top picks, is Dogs Red from Satoru Noda, the creator of one of my personal favorite series of all time, Golden Kamuy. So I'm very biased here for Dogs Red. This one follows a 15-year-old former figure skater, Ro, who was on track to go to the Olympics until his mother's death sent him into fits of rage that had him banned from figure skating. He and his sister moved to Hokkaido, where a group of kids from a soon-to-be disbanded hockey team convince him to be a stand-in player during a game. They've never won a game before, and while Ro doesn't know how to play hockey, he may be able to help them at least score a goal before their team is shut down. I read, I think, the first chapter of this one when it hit, but I'm not really great with reading digital stuff, so usually I'll just wait for, and I was like, it's Noda, it's gonna get a release. Fun little fact, I guess. Noda had a series before Golden Kamuy that was a hockey series, and this is kind of him getting the shot to do that again. So it's really cool to see that he leveraged his success from Golden Kamuy to be able to revisit his old series. Moving on to Kodansha, we've got Dead Rock Volume 1 by Hiro Mashima. This is Mashima's post Eden's Zero series, so starting up a new one. What would you risk to rule the world? Dive back into the imagination of best-selling manga creator Hiro Mashima, Fairy Tail and Eden Zero, with a new fantasy adventure that pits the aspiring young denizens of Hell against each other in a battle royale to claim the ultimate prize, Earth itself. Moving on from Vertical, which is, of course, under Kodansha, we have 2345. New Tokyoite and college freshman Iku is living the otaku dream, except for the fact that he can now see ghosts. One day he bumps into Mimori, a super friendly spirit that haunts a local bridge, and reluctantly lets the lonely specter into his home. But every night at 2345, Mimori is drawn back to the bridge and forced to replay his downfall. Will Mimori be stuck in this loop forever, or can Iku find a way to save him from an eternity of unending tragedy? So this is a all-in-one release, so it's not going to be a commitment or anything, and it's not a big one either. It's just a single, less than 200-page volume. Moving on to another Kodansha one, How to Deal with Your Intimidating Neighbor When Your Intimidating Neighbor is Actually an Omega, another single volume release. If you're into Omegaverse stuff, and Omegaverse BL in particular, this is probably going to be up your alley. Nikia Inui's suspenseful and erotic new Omegaverse rom-com manga is finally here. A college-aged alpha lives next door to a scary-looking hottie whom he assumes is an alpha too, but a shocking encounter will correct that assumption. An irresistible tattooed Omega living next door. What's a virgin alpha to do? Then we go on to a release from Yen Press, another single volume, is Metemeth, the complete edition. I don't know exactly how that's pronounced. Met-Emet, maybe. Long ago, humanity discovered the weapons later known as auto-scrolls and the oath-making technology that allows command of them. In modern-day Japan, not only have auto-scrolls become a part of everyday life, but oath-making is now a systemized science. When high school student and scroll enthusiast of the Oath Club, Kyota Yuzuki, gets into an accident after finding a mysterious scroll, his new transplanted Oath Heart turns him into a new being. So this one is an all-in-one, 350 plus pages, so pretty decent sized little seinen story. So if that is something that interests you, definitely go ahead and pick that one up from Yen Press this month. And then moving on to 7 Seas, we have Fake Fact Lips. This is an all-in-one, but there is a sequel. There's, I think it's Fake Fact Lips Break, if I'm not mistaken. Also coming later from 7 Seas. Rivals Ryo and Zen have competed in everything from high school to co-workers, and now they've moved on to competing over who is the most experienced in love by seeing who can make the other fall in love first. Then moving on, we get one from Square Enix, Assassin and Cinderella Volume 1. A sexy spy and an elite assassin enter into the world's sweetest, deadliest marriage of convenience. Now, I did read the first volume of this one a little while ago, and it's quick. It's quick but fun, like just, fun, smutty action josei type stuff. But I wanted to point out that while it is labeled as josei, it is a josei book, the art is interesting because the male lead is drawn like a typical male lead would be from like a josei smut series, but the female lead is drawn more like what you would expect from a seinen like ecchi title. So just an interesting thing to note. Then another one coming out from Dark Horse this month, we have Drifters Omnibus Volume 1. This collects the first 3 volumes of the series from Hellsing creator Kota Hirano. The series sees various notable historic figures taken to an alien world where they are thrust into a war against the Black King and his monster legion. It's been a while since I read this one, so I'm definitely going to want to revisit it, and these are oversized volumes, so they are bigger than the previous single volume releases of Drifters. This has been delayed multiple times. I'm assuming that there were problems at the printer or something. I don't know. I'm not absolutely sure, but I know it was supposed to come out a while ago, so I've seen it, not in person, I've seen pictures of it, so I know it's out there in the wild. Drifters is still ongoing, by the way. It's just, like is typical for Hirano, it's been on multiple hiatus. And it still only has 6 volumes out, so 2 of these omnibus is going to catch us up, and then it's going to be a while before we get anything else. But I just wanted to point the logistics out there for you. Next up from Kuma, Guardians of the Far Frontier. This is a single volume BL. An aristocrat named Ashath has been assigned to a quiet post called the Guardian of the Outer Shell, a security force for the elite far from the castle. Ashath was left behind after his unit was wiped out in a battle. Regretting his situation as the lone survivor, his dreams are full of nightmares of that battle. He then meets Durant, a foul-mouthed sorcerer who removes the nightmares with his magic. Durant also may be falling for Ashath. And another one from Kuma, and this one's been delayed multiple times, so hopefully it actually comes out this time, even if there's no rainbow tomorrow. Whip runs a drag bar in Tokyo where they interact with some of the most interesting people in society. But at home, their days are often spent by idly chatting via a phone app with a user named Insomniac Salaryman. Their conversations are nothing much more than grumbling about their day-to-days. So when Whip develops some light romantic feelings for this person that they've never met, they dismiss it as a romance that will never happen. And moving over to Tokyo Pop as part of their love line, feigning fox with a face full of flowers, a loving, tolerant seme, and a proud, beautiful fox spirit hungry for love. At his late grandfather's house, Ken meets Kazune, a fox spirit who claims to have known his grandfather. One more debut from this week is going to be Mansect from Living the Line as part of the Smudge imprint. Humans grow in age, they change, but always we are the same person, the same creature. Not so with insects, whose powers of metamorphosis alter not only their shape and size, but also their very beings. And now, because of one young man's unhealthy obsession with bugs, humans also find themselves transformed into disgusting, decrepit, blood-sucking insect monsters. This one was released, the official date online is the 11th of March, but it was available at like comic shops a couple weeks ago. So I got this one, I read it, and I really enjoyed it. If you are a fan of horror manga at all, like if you're a fan of Ito, I think you'd really like this. If you're a fan of, I'm gonna say this one felt more like Kazuo Umez, though, so definitely gonna recommend to fans of that. But I honestly, like, it's a single volume horror manga. If you're into horror at all, like, just it's a must-have. One final volume in this second week, Cardcaptor Sakura Clear Card Volume 16, so wrapping up this arc of Cardcaptor. It just leaves me wondering, are they gonna do some oversized hardcover editions for this one? Because Kodansha did do the original series across 9 hardcovers, so it'd be interesting to see them do the same for this one. Now let's move into the third week, March 18th. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming out here as well. Starting out with one from 7 Seas Entertainment, At Your Service in Another World, Volume 1, a steamy tale about lust and disdain as one woman finds herself drawn to a knight she can't stand, based off the light novel. Then we have I'm in Love with the Older Girl Next Door, Volume 1. Tasuku is in love with his cool and mysterious neighbor Shia. She's 3 years older than him, a big film buff, and doesn't like him back. The two get together to watch movies every Wednesday, but no matter how many times Tasuku attempts to use these meetups to profess his love for her, Shia sends him right back into the friend zone. Then I'm also really looking forward to this one, The Last Elf, Volume 1. In a world where spirits have been forgotten, the last remaining elf must help guide them out of this realm before the military can get to them. This one sounds like a really fun seinen fantasy series that I'm looking forward to checking out. Moving back over to Dark Horse, we have a lot of Dark Horse releases this month. Relatively, not like usually they have maybe one, usually don't even show up on these videos, but it's cool to see how many new things they have coming out. This is not a first nor is it a last volume, but it is rather notable. Berserk Volume 42 is the first volume of material without Kentaro Miura. After his passing, this was when Koji Mori, fellow mangaka and longtime close friend to Miura, supervised Studio Gaga in creating new Berserk material to continue the story past his death. So I did want to point out that this is also out here because it is pretty notable. Then from Titan Manga, we have Dope Man Volume 1. Ryo Yoshigami eradicates the metropolitan Japan that we know, as it has now become a war zone for the authorities and a new enemy. The legalization of narcotics unleashed a wave of supernatural powers among drug addicts. To battle the new enemies, the D Unit is formed, comprising of detectives who alongside the reader are plunged into a superhuman doping conflict. This one is only 3 volumes long, so much of what Titan puts out is pretty short. They only have a few longer ones. They just announced Sanda as well, by the way, which I will be covering in a later video where I go over all of the new announcements, like license announcements from the year so far. But yeah, most of the series are pretty short ones, so if it's coming from Titan, chances are you're going to be wrapping up in a few volumes. Then from Alien Books is Kinryo Rock Volume 0 Moon Age Daydream. This prequel volume sets the stage with 3 short stories about the main characters that will collide in the main series. In this world, vampires live among humans, but coexistence is not easy. The moment they don't follow the rules, there are special agents prepared to take them down. Some with the strength of the law, and others with the power of rock. Alien Books, they haven't been around for that long, and they've only released like 4 other titles, but when they started releasing manga, they like immediately had like those 3 or 4 different titles already announced. 4 or 5, I don't know, whatever it was, everything was already kind of on the table. And now this is the only thing remaining. Like, they don't have any more manga licenses upcoming. They haven't announced anything as far as I can see. So this is the only thing on the docket for them, and it's been pushed back multiple times. As of now, I believe it is still scheduled to come out this month, but it has been delayed a lot, and it's just very curious to me, and I wanted to note to y'all what's going on over there at Alien Books, because they're not a very well-known publisher, and it just has me wondering, like, are they gonna step aside? Because everything else they've already wrapped up. It was all like 3-volume series and 1 2-volume series, and they've already released everything. Anyway, enough on that one. Moving on to Betrayer's Love Song from Kuma. It's Italy, 19XX, and the Gardino family, which rules a port town, has 2 candidates for the next boss. One is Gino, a pure-blooded executive who respects tradition, while the other is Dante, a liberal who seeks a new future. Gino sees Dante as his rival, but Dante always tries to find some reason to get involved. Inadvertently, Gino's biggest secret is revealed to Dante, so to keep his secret hidden, Dante asks to hold Gino for one night. I want to point out that I just copied this straight from Kuma's description, and there are a lot of typos here, so someone needs to go back and fix that. Anyway, moving on to one from Tokyo Pop in the Love Love line is Trapped by His Love, The Duke's Unexpected Bride, Volume 1. Alice is betrothed to marry her childhood bully, the son of a duke, Arthur Grindelbard. While the initial engagement starts strangely, Arthur adores Alice and gives her gifts to gain her affection. However, it starts to become clear that Arthur has been watching Alice for much longer than he cares to admit. And we wrap up this week with Kenji Miyazawa's A Night on the Galactic Railway, the manga edition, by Kenji Miyazawa and adapted by Ayano Kitahara from Tuttle Publishing. Lonely and awkward, Giovanni struggles with his sick mother, absent father, and an after-school job that isolates him from his peers. But on the night of the Star Festival, he's magically transported onto a celestial train with his best friend, Campanella. Together, they embark on an extraordinary journey through the galaxy, encountering mysterious characters and grappling with life's deepest questions. When Giovanni returns to Earth, he faces the heartbreaking truth about their voyage. And then one more final volume in this week, Who Made Me a Princess, Volume 9. And before we move on into the final week of the month, March 25th, I want to give a quick word from the sponsor of this video and of this channel, Walt's Comic Shop. Now, us here in the US, if you're like me, you live here in the States, we have plenty of options where we can shop for manga for great prices, get some great service. We have a lot of ways to get our manga here. But if you are out in the EU and you're looking for English language manga, it can be a little bit, you don't have as many options. And Walt's Comic Shop is here to help you out because they are a fantastic option with a great selection of manga, great prices, fantastic shipping and customer service. They also do sell comics like Marvel and DC stuff, so I want to point that out in case you are interested in diving into stuff like Batman or the X-Men. Walt's can help you out there as well. Now, if you're a first-time shopper over at Walt's, you can get free shipping on your first order within the EU of €40 or more. Just use code TheOmnibusCollector. Again, code TheOmnibusCollector. That's going to give you free shipping on your first order within the EU of €40 or more. So definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop for those of you out there. I'm so thankful for them to continue supporting the channel here, and I am glad to constantly hear great reports back from you all, the viewers, that they are continuing to do great work out there. Anyway, let's move on into the 25th and take a look at the last chunk of books coming out in March, starting off with The Liminal Zone Volume 2 by Junji Ito. I know I don't, like the Berserk one, I don't usually cover like second volumes, and there's no telling if this is going to be like the final volume of the Liminal Zone. But it's just another collection of short stories by Ito, so gotta mention it here. In Japan, it was titled Liminal Zone Season 2, not Volume 2, so a little bit different. And it's just more new, I think it's 4 new short stories from Ito. It's some of his more recent works. Anyway, moving on, we get some stuff from Yen Press. If It's You, I Might Try Falling in Love. Amane has sworn off love since being ridiculed in middle school, but he hits it off quickly with new transfer student Ryuji, and the friendship starts feeling like it could lead to something more. Moving on, we get In the Heavenly Prison, The Devil Enchants Me, Volume 1. It's got a suggestive cover. A coddled young man enrolls in a prestigious academy on a remote island in hopes of remaking himself into a man among men. Their description, not mine. But finds that the school is actually a nest of succubi who are going to suck him dry. That one was more my description than theirs. Moving on, It's All Your Fault, Volume 1. 2 girls crash as they try to become cosplay superstars. Then we've got Nomi x Shiba, Volume 1. Nomiya has never been in love, but he may be feeling something for Shiba. The only problem is Nomiya's only ever believed himself to be straight. Then we get Sacrificial Princess and the King of Beasts, White Rabbit and the Prince of Beasts, Volume 1. This is a sequel series focusing on the son of Leonhardt and Sarifi, so if you were a fan of that shoujo fantasy series, you'll probably want to check this one out. It's only 5 volumes long as well, so not as much as a commitment as the previous one. Something completely different, Super Ball Girls. So this is from Muneyuki Kaneshiro, the writer of Blue Lock and the artist of Prison School, Akira Hiramoto. So all-star team going on right there. This is about a young man who's bored in his life, who finds a mysterious super ball bouncing out of the darkness while he's walking home from work. When he throws it as hard as he can, a beautiful woman pops out. I'm sure this is one of the most ridiculous reads that I'm gonna have for this month, and I'm very much looking forward to that. Next up from Yen Press is The Boy Who Ruled the Monsters. Before I knew it, the ultimate specialized support skill led to the world's ultimate party. As a support mage, Sol Rock seemed to be the black sheep of the Black Tiger Party, so they kicked him out. However, he actually has the very strong ability to buff all his allies and control the flow of battle. But now, without a party to call his own, he's going to assemble the strongest group in the world. Then another one from Yen Press, The Failure at God School, Volume 1. In this shoujo series, the government has created systems for people with powers, including classification systems, special schools, and licenses for people with mysterious powers. Those with powers are called himiko, but they require full certification to be called a god. After the death of her grandmother, Nagi could use a god, and her shut-in himiko brother doesn't seem to be promising. Now moving over to 7 Seas, in this last week, 12 Dirty Deeds to Unite the Princess and Her Heroine, Volume 1. A fun and spicy Yuri manga about a princess and her beloved female knight who returns from an epic battle cursed by a demon lord to perform 12 perverted acts to lift the spell that threatens her soul. Then we have You Are My Alpha, also from 7 Seas. In a school meant for alphas, one young man goes through a change that could get him expelled or worse. See how 2 honor students do whatever it takes to protect each other in this Boys Love Omegaverse manga. And then from Kuma, Haberdashery Ginmokusei, Part 1, Ubuki has taken over the Ginmokusei, a long-established haberdashery in Ginza. He inherited from his grandfather. But unlike when his grandfather was in charge, the shop is now dead. So when a handsome man named Theo comes to visit the shop, Ubuki is elated. But his joy is cut short when he is told that his customer service is not up to par. Moving over to Tokyo Pop, in the Love line, we have Touch Within the Abyss. Hitman Chinatsu once failed to pull the trigger on his target, and it cost him his brother's life. That day, the sole witness who took Chinatsu's trembling hand had clear eyes that stared right through him, straight into the abyss within. 5 years later, a purse-snatching reunites Chinatsu with his savior, Kasumi, a young blind man searching for a way out of his own lonely world. Chinatsu knows better than to get involved with a potential witness, but he can't help but be drawn to Kasumi's radiant smile. If Kasumi knew the truth of their provenance, could he ever forgive the sins of Chinatsu's past? And then we've got one more new release coming in this last week, Runosuke Akutagawa's Hellscreen by Mihiro and Ryunosuke Akutagawa, coming from Tuttle Publishing. Hellscreen follows Yoshihide, a renowned but tormented artist who, despite his talent, is rude, lazy, and avaricious. Known for his abrasive demeanor, Yoshihide's one light is the deep affection he harbors for his daughter, Yuzuki. When he enters the service of the powerful Lord Horikawa, tensions rise between the artist and the Lord's court, especially after disturbing rumors of Yuzuki's treatment emerge. That's it for the new debuts, but we do have several final volumes for this last week. Starting out from Viz Media's Shonen Jump line, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 6, Stone Ocean, Volume 9. So officially in 2 more months' time in May, we're moving on to Steel Ball Run, and I am extremely excited because that is my favorite part of the entire franchise. Then we have I Can't Say No to the Lonely Girl, Volume 6, Spoil Me Please, spelt with 3 Z's, Hinamori-san, Volume 3, A Sinner of the Deep, Volume 3. I think those were from 7 Seas, Kodansha, and Yen Press respectively, and Teasing Master Takagi-san, Volume 20, a long-running title coming to an end, also from Yen Press. And then Tokyo Revengers Omnibus Edition, the final, that's a long-running series, the final omnibus, collecting volumes 29 through 31, is coming out, and I am extremely excited about that one. And Burst Angel Volume 3, I mentioned a little bit earlier, is one of those old Tokyo Pop titles that Titan brought back. So that's it for the month of March. That's all the new debuts and all of the finales. If I missed anything, let us know in the comments. But I think that we got everything this time. But yeah, a lot of really exciting stuff in the month of March. Some stuff that I'm really pumped for. I mentioned throughout the video the stuff that I was excited to see, but let me know in the comments what you're looking forward to picking up, whether it is one of the debuts or final volumes I mentioned in this video, or if it's something else that you're just excited to read the new volume of. Let me know in the comments. I'm always curious to know what y'all are up to. I will see y'all on the next video, which is actually going to be, for those of you who are sticking around to the very end here, a little bit of information. James, who I mentioned earlier, makes the slides for this video, or for these Buyer's Guide videos, helped me out and made some slides going over all of the new licenses that were announced. So we're going to be I'm going to try to do monthly videos, as long as it makes sense, to talk about new licenses. So this first video is going to go over everything announced in January and February, which is a lot. It's so much that I moved 7C's entirety of all the crazy amount of stuff that they have announced, because they've been doing their weekly Wonderful Wednesday events. I moved all of those over to the March video, just because I think they're going to wrap up later this month in March. But look forward to that. I should hopefully have that one out next week. And then I know that we're going to have a lot to talk about in March as well, or in April, as far as March announcements as well. So look forward to that. And hopefully that'll be helpful for y'all. So not just talking about everything that's coming out in the given month, but talking about everything that's been announced, so that you don't miss any of those announcements. Because typically I don't make videos for all the announcements. I usually just focus on Viz. But I was like, there's so many big things coming from all publishers, it's kind of weird for me to just lend my focus to one publisher. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Whether you're new here or returning, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much, and I will see you all on the next one. Peace out.